Well, hello traders and investors, I'm LA Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets. We're doing it from a neoclassical perspective, and that means each day we look to see what kind of clues the market gives us and use that to decide what's going to happen the following days. I do the show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's archived on YouTube. It's on the channel LA Little. If you want to subscribe, just reach up in the right-hand corner and do so. And anytime we push content that's not private, you'll get a notification of that. If we look at the markets, last night we were talking about that they were going to try and push higher. Well, actually, we said that, they had a little over-unders, but we didn't think that had much weight and that potentially would push on up in the direction of the trend. And boy, did we ever push up. 2% on the Russell, 2% on the NDX, 2% on the NASDAQ. These just totally took off. They took off this morning, a gap up, and just kept running off of strength in Europe. 1.37% on the S&P, and the Dow 1.22. So big move up. If you see Europe over here, 2.25% almost. The CAC was up even more, I believe. Dollar was strong. Where's the dollar here? 0.33. 0.32 actually, and that put pressure on the metals. We called that dollar trade last night as we were looking at it. You could see the reversal. It was going to try to go higher. Gold, silver, commodities in general get hit, so do the bonds to some extent. So a big push up, continuation of that. And this neoclassical, the reads, they're not always 100% correct, but they're pretty good. And for a limited time, as I've told you, you can get started. Get a crash course on Neoclassical with me, LA Little. I'm going to teach 10 people, only 10. There's only 3 slots that aren't spoken for at this point. If you're interested, just write me here at tatatoday.com. If you just drop me a note, for a 1-year subscription, you get 3-day crash course in Neoclassical by me. Bring you up to speed, show you how to use all the tools that are available, and the tools here are phenomenal. I still don't think most of the members even know how to use them all. There's a huge tool set that you can use. Trading Cube gives you, 3 time frame snapshot view, sector trends, Trading Cube scanner, things to find things with. The watch list, of course, the things you push around. And if I actually, if you want to watch things, if I actually log in here, you'll see the other things that you don't have access to otherwise, and that is the stock monitor trade signals. Trade signals will tell you those trades that have the potential to be great, as well as once you find them, then the stock monitoring will allow you to monitor those on each watch list that you create. A lot of great tools, folks, and not only that, but it's the whole idea, the model that I built. How do you tell, what's going to happen next? The market is nothing but a series of tests. If you know how to read those tests, you know where the significant points are, then you'll be able to do the same sort of thing that you see me do here every night. So just give me a little jingle. I'll get you on the list. As soon as we fill it up, that's going to be it. So 3 slots left that are not spoken for, and get on the list. Let's get started here with the markets and take a look at what happened today. Well, let's start with the S&P 500. Now, on the weekend review, where I take with members and show them what's happening, I'd outlined fairly clearly where I thought the ranges were on this market, and what we could expect next as a result of it. And I'd outline the idea that more than likely what we're going to see this week is it to come in here and test this boundary between the lower and the top range. Well, here it is Tuesday. There we are. We're there. We're testing. We did get over it today. This swing point high over here was the one I was pointing them to, 2075. We got over the 2275. We stayed over at 2076. And so right now we're in a good spot. Problem is we're coming up there on volume that's about 36.2, and the volume over here was 37.4. So even though the volume swelled a little bit today, we're not talking about any kind of blowout volume. So I suspect you're going to see some sort of an attempt tomorrow to back and fill into this area. NASDAQ made the big push, of course. That big push, again, I told members, expect this swing point high to be the target. That number up there is 4889. We got the 4861, 4865, the other number we were looking at the lower boundary. And so when I outlined this to them, I was talking about this boundary here. We were talking about these price points, and we're into that area now. So can we move a little bit higher? Yeah, we can. We're going to do it immediately tomorrow. Well, look at your volumes as you're coming into this. And if you do that, you're looking at about 19.4 against this big bar, and the 18 on it, and then we look at this one's got 21, right? So we're coming in with enough to push higher, but we definitely could take a break here. If you look at the NDX, right, NDX looks even more powerful, and a nice big run up. Here's that swing point high. It was coming into 4447. You get over it, 4449. You close underneath it. Of course, this is the driver in the technology arena. So you get over it, back under it. You know, that says, hey, they're going to respect that area, and it's going to be hard to get over. So you've got to expect some sort of consolidation as a result of that. Finally, if we go to the Russell, Russell just looks powerful, right? Pushes over a swing point high. If you bring over the weekly, though, on the Russell, you're coming back into this big bar. Number there is 1134, and we close at 1135, so just barely over it. And again, this is going to be the area where the market's going to tell us something. Expect some congestion, some consolidation off a big push like today, but they're not going to give it up easy, which they never do in terms of the bulls. And so what I expect them to do is try it again. Now, if you don't think these moves have anything to do with currencies, let's go back to the currency market, because that was where I focused on last night, which is why I thought that we might see a push up in Europe, because we were looking at the dollar last night. If you remember, this was the only real tell, as I said to members this morning early, this was the only really telling thing that you had yesterday, and that was as you came back into this bar that had volume, you tested into it right here, right, with no volume. That told us, as it flipped around and closed above it, that told us that more than likely we'd get a continuation push back up today. That was a neoclassical tell that was there. The other part of it is we were testing back into this swing point high, which is a bullish retest regen. And so as we did that, right, this was the thing that said, hey, this thing can move higher. And when it did, that was going to hurt the metals, and sure enough it did. If we go and look at the gold right quick, for example, gold got plastered. It also helped the European markets, right, because as the euro comes in, that's going to power their equities higher, and so the euro pushes down. If you look at the Swiss market, which is actually the leader in Europe right now on this latest push, Swiss market's been getting a nice boost on the way down as its currency becomes devalued a little bit compared to where it has been. And the same thing in Japan, but not nearly to the same extent. The tell here, now that we've looked at the currencies, is in the world markets. If you go look at those markets, right, you can see currency is written all over the European market. So we'll just start here again with the CACs like we did last night. Look at the power move here. Let's bring up the CACs. Look at the power move in this index, right? Big spike, huge volume, 2.46, not huge volume, but huge wide price spread, 2.46% up. And if we look at the DAX, we get the same sort of thing, big spike up, right? Gets over the Draghi bar that's way back here, going after the swing point highs. And again, as I was just saying, you know, Switzerland is the one that's really powering because of the devaluation of their currency that's taking place right now. Now, if we look over in Asia, it's a different story, right? You look at Shanghai, can't get off the ground. If you look at the topics in Japan, same thing, the Nikkei can't move. If you look at Hong Kong even, which actually got a little bit of a boost last night, but still, they can't move, folks. They're stuck in the mud. It's currencies. Currencies are what's moving things. Look for another attempt to rise later this week, probably a little consolidation tomorrow. All these markets got some Momo going in Europe, in the U.S., and I don't think they'll give it up quick. That's it for tonight. Again, join me, write me, and I'll take you on with the other 10 or other 9 folks, 10 total, for a crash course in Neoclassical so that you too can learn how to read these charts. Have a great night, and I'll see you later.